I've got a lot of incredible memories of visiting the parks, but there are a few that stand out above the rest. These are five of my favorite magical memories, and not all of them are from Disney. I've been blessed to be able to visit a lot of parks over the years and build up a lot of incredible memories. But there's a handful that stand out as just above and beyond what I love about theme parks. A handful that if I could say, yes, that moment, that time, that memory, that sums up everything I love about theme parks. These five would pretty much kind of wrap those up. Number one, my kids' first time entering Disneyland. I've told this story about my best trip to Disneyland ever when my kids got to experience their first visit about 2 weeks after 9/11. But what a way to enter Disneyland, and this wraps up so much of the magic. We had actually arrived the night before and done a couple things, and those will come up in just a bit. But our very first morning there, we had an extra magic hour. We got to get there early. The park wasn't busy to begin with, but especially with extra magic hour, it was near empty. It was kind of amazing. As we walked into the park with the kids knew where we were. They were 4 and 5 years old. They were excited. And as we came through the train station out onto Main Street, Minnie Mouse came out. My kids saw her. My daughter went running up, and Minnie kind of waved at them and then started walking up down Main Street. So my daughter's very first impression of Disneyland, coming in the gates, the train station, there's Minnie, and Minnie left her. And she was kind of standing there as a 5-year-old like, "What happened? Minnie just left." My son was perfectly okay with that. He was not a fan of Minnie Mouse because she was a girl. But as my daughter and son were standing there, Mickey came out of the side entrance, said hi to a couple other kids, saw my kids that were standing there, and as they were standing there, he reached out and he grabbed my daughter's hand with one of his, and then he grabbed my son's hand with his other hand, and proceeded to walk them up Main Street. Now, I don't know about you, but as a dad, that was just amazing. I was madly backpedaling, trying to get a picture on my little Kodak digital camera at the time, and got one. But what an amazing moment, what an amazing time for your very first time ever at Disneyland to have Mickey Mouse actually walk you up Main Street. That was just so cool and so amazing. And then, yes, my kids did get the picture with Minnie Mouse, and you can see my son was really pleased. Just a fantastic memory of that. Number two, the Main Street Electric Light Parade. This is actually my very first memory of my own trips to Disneyland. The first time I got to go to Disneyland, I was 9 or 10 years old, and then I got to go again when I was 15 and 18. But the very first time, I don't remember a whole lot of the trip. I remember running from ride to ride because that's what we did, and we did everything, and I do mean everything, at Disneyland in one day. And I remember a few of the other things. I can remember seeing a couple of the dark rides. I can remember the Golden Horseshoe Review and several small things like that. But my standout memory of that very first time I ever went to Disneyland was the Electric Light Parade. There was just something about that parade that as a 10-year-old kid blew me away. I was just absolutely amazed by this parade. Now, of course, back in 1980, that was some pretty cool technology at the time, and yes, it does show its age now. But between the music and the lights and everything else, it was just the penultimate Disney. And I can remember thinking as a kid, one, I hope my dad's actually getting decent pictures of this on his old 126 film camera. But also, my thought was, I could sit here and do this all day. I could just watch this parade forever. It was that amazing to me. But what made it even better was 30 years later in 2001, the very first thing I did with my kids when we took them on their first time, in that evening, we went over to California Adventure before they even had gotten into Disneyland. At that time, the Main Street Electric Light Parade was running at California Adventure. So in their very first few hours of experiencing Disney, one of the very first things they got to do was experience the same parade that I did as a 10-year-old. And it was just an amazing thing for me to be able to see my very first memories of Disney match up and correlate with their very first memories and experiences at Disney. It was amazing to see essentially myself again through their eyes as they were watching the parade and just open-mouthed and absolutely loving it. Number 3, the twinkling lights around the castle. Okay, I know this one sounds a little cheesy, but stick with me here. One of the things that Disney used to do around the castle was you had a lot of trees in that castle hub area, and there were lights in the trees. At night, the lights would come on. The trees weren't completely covered in lights. They just had a few in there to make them kind of twinkle a little bit. So it almost looked like the trees were kind of part of the stars. Just a little soft glow and twinkle, and it almost felt otherworldly. Disney wasn't the only ones that did this. Marriott's Great America as a kid did the same kind of thing all around their Columbia Carousel pool, and I'm going to come to that in a minute. But it was just such an amazing, quiet, serene, relaxing thing that you could just sit and absorb the atmosphere. It was actually something that when I worked at Magic Kingdom, that in the evenings I really enjoyed about being able to shoot. Even if it was a busier day, there was just something about the lights and the music that played that it was just soothing and relaxing. It was something that I enjoyed sometimes getting off of work a little early and just going to sit around the hub and just watching people and enjoying the atmosphere. That night atmosphere between both Disney and Marriott's really summed up just this being able to transport out of your world and issues and problems and into a completely different one. And that was one of the things I absolutely loved about Disney. I have great memories of those lights, and I have to admit, I'm still rather frustrated, annoyed, and saddened over the fact that Disney remodeled the hub at Magic Kingdom and basically removed all those beautiful trees to open up more spaces for fireworks, and in the process they ruined the beauty and the atmosphere of it. There's no rose garden there anymore. There's no twinkling lights in the trees, and it's just plain compared to what it was. They really lost something when they did that. Number 4, memories of Marriott's Great America. I hinted at this a little bit. The park I really grew up going to on a regular basis was Marriott's Great America in Santa Clara, California. In fact, I'm very grateful that one of my viewers actually sent me this wonderful book because it's got some amazing pictures from my childhood in it. Just a beautiful book filled with pictures of what the park was like at the time. And I mentioned the trees around the Columbia Carousel Lagoon, but there's something about that whole setting and entry at the park that just resonates with me still. There's a couple pictures there of what it looked like. It was a beautiful entry. We went every year from the time I was 6 years old, which is the year that it opened. We went at least once a year, oftentimes a couple. And not only did it have the lights, but it just had this amazing atmosphere. Marriott's Great America at the time really had a red, white, and blue patriotic theme. Every area of the park was themed to a land from American history or tradition. So you got a feel of really being at Great America. That's why it was called Great America. It was a salute to America. Even Bugs Bunny at the time, as a kid, I loved Bugs. He had this full red, white, and blue patriotic outfit on. There was just something about everything, the way it tied together there, that it was just a fantastic park. I loved going to Great America as a kid. And a lot of my memories and impressions as a kid of parks are all wrapped up in Great America in that patriotic, beautiful theme. Yes, there's such things as just plain old carousels. The Columbia Carousel there was a double-decker. For me, it wasn't a trip to Great America unless I got to go ride on the upper deck. Ride around the carousel and being able to look down at the rest of the park and the beautiful pool and fountain that was there at the entrance. And just a lot of wonderful memories. If I could somehow take all of that and package it and carry it with me and then share it with the other parks and say, this is what a park experience should be, I would. Number 5, the immersion levels of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Pandora, and the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. All 3 are amazing. These are the things that are more modern that in a lot of ways for me kind of resurrected and brought back those old feelings of awe and wonder and astonishment and escaping to a brand new world. I love the videos I've got of my family as we walked into Pandora and let them see it for the very first time, of the awe. I love the view of my family as they walked into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, including mine. Even my daughter, when we went into Hogwarts and Hogsmeade and that at Universal, it's the same thing. They've got these 3 lands that are just an amazing escape. They're so well developed and detailed that it provides a whole new world, a whole new experience, so much to see. The atmosphere, you're no longer part of what you're used to be. You're in this completely different world. They're all radically different. All 3 of them at night are just gorgeous. Pandora seems to come alive with alien wildlife. Star Wars, you feel like you're really in the Galaxy's Edge area, like you're part of the Star Wars universe. The Harry Potter Wizarding World areas, you feel like you're part of the movies or the books. They've just done an amazing job, and it is that immersion that they bring in. Everything from the music, the costumes, the cast members, the entertainment, everything ties it all together and really sums up what is the best about theme parks. If I could sum up what I love in theme parks in 5 things, those would be it. So those are kind of my 5 highlights, the things I love, my most cherished memories, the most magical things I could think of. If somebody were to say, what is your favorite stuff about theme parks, your favorite memory, it would be one of those. Just what I love. So what's yours? I would absolutely love to hear it. Please share it in the comments below. Let me know what you think of mine. Do you agree, disagree? Do you have something you think even better that I've missed? I would love to hear it. Please don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you, too, for checking the description. There's a ton of information there. I can't even begin to tell you all of it. Just go look at it. Also, a huge shout out to my patrons and my YouTube members. Their financial support has done so much for me, and most of this video footage you've seen has come because of their support. If you want to know more about that, as well as the perks that come with it, check the description as well. Thank you so incredibly much for watching, and God bless. My kids and I... Yeah. But I... and proceeded to take my daughter in one hand and my son's other hand. Saw my... Okay, trying to place this in. I can remember the hoop-de-doo. But what made it even better was back in... Or what... They weren't completely covered in tree. They weren't covered in trees? As I ding. Boy, double ding. Stop messaging me.